I want to talk about a refresher today and how not all refreshes are created equal. I want to start off with this little thread from Vino here. It's about a year old, but I think the advice is still the gold standard advice when it comes to Fortnite competitive. And I think if you want to really go to the next level, it's advice you really need to understand at a deep level. Vino is one of very few players that has ever been able to be considered a top tier fragger and IGL, and so I think his advice brings a lot of weight. The main thing I want to focus on is this section. So many kills were unnecessary and just siphon kills. You literally did nothing after the first 2 kills, and by nothing, I mean the goal is to win the game. So, what does that actually mean? Every single Fortnite game can be broken down into 2 stages. One, where you have loot to win the game, and then you need to be trying to convert that into a win. And then 2 is trying to get the loot to win the game. Understanding what stage of the game you are in is incredibly important to you succeeding in Fortnite. It dictates everything. How safe you should be playing, how aggressively you should be playing for refreshes. Should you be focusing on free kills or trying to generate and force refreshes? I want to then highlight an example. I think this is a perfect example of what Vino is talking about and it being done wrong. So this comes from my friend Naves and Caliper. This is EU Victory Cup Opens. They're about top 150 going into this game, so they're doing fairly well. They are front side low ground on this right side, and they have really good mats. They are in a very good position, like in terms of just general position. And then if we add on to this their mats, about 750 on Caliper and then 850 on Naves. They're in an incredibly good spot to convert this game into a win. But here's where the mistake comes into play. So we look back, and this is where what Vino talked about when it comes to siphon kills comes into play. If you look backside, the players back here usually aren't going to be very stacked, because if they were stacked, they wouldn't be back here in the first place. This is what we call a siphon kill. A kill that's going to not really net you many mats, because you can pretty much infer that the player's not going to have anything. These 2 teams fighting backside here are almost assuredly not going to have anything. But here is where the mistake comes into play. Instead of staying front and using our ARs and our pistols, just using our spray guns to get this kill backside while maintaining our position, Naves gets greedy, runs backside. This player jumps into his box, gets this refresh, but I want you to note the amount of mats he gets off this body. Throw back the body. Another player jumps in, get that kill. So we killed 2 players here, and we netted in total 15 builds. But what's happened now? We netted 15 builds, but we are now fully backside. We have given up on our game-winning position, being able to control the space. He should very easily, as a team, be where this Dulls player is right now, front side, right side, with a potential refarm right here, and the ability to scout out Height, who is in wood right now. This is a game that can be converted into a win from 2 different ways. You can stay on this low ground because you control it, staying to this right, you have refarm potential and kills will come to you. If they were front side, they'd have a kill on this player, they'd have a potential kill here. The kills would come to them, or they could just look up, inventory Height, go, hey, Height's in wood, chop chop, and they could win the game that way. But instead they gave up their positioning for these 2 kills backside. The important thing to note here is they were in the point of the game where they were trying to convert their loot into a win. They had everything they needed. Positions, they had mats, they had every last thing they needed to try and win this game. But instead of focusing on converting this game into a win, they saw a refresh backside and they went for it. One of the things I always tell players is after you get a refresh, when you're VODing, ask yourself the question, does this refresh allow me to do anything I previously couldn't do? That is the ultimate question you need to ask yourself. Now that Naves has gone on this refresh, and he's gained 20 builds total, but is now backside and is going to need a full build, has he gained the ability to do anything? The answer is no. And so this refresh does not benefit them in any way possible. All it does is it takes them further away from their goal of winning the game. So we're able to get front. As we try and get front, Caliber gets shot from a player even further back in zone. And so, not only did we have to full tarp just to regain the position we should have had already, we are now actually netting less mats even if Caliper managed to somehow survive that zone. And so to circle back to the Vino tweet, he then follows up the part I read before with, if anything, you negatively impacted your chance to win. You kept getting siphon kills who have no whites to heal off instead of playing as a trio. Now, we aren't in trios anymore and you don't really need white heals to convert to wins, but the main idea is still there. Instead of playing as a duo, having the mats you need to win the game and then using that to play positioning, being in the same spot here, but earlier, and as a duo, they are instead backside, struggling, and with no real hope at this point to win this game. Naves does manage to clutch out this game fairly well and get a top 5, but this is a game that very easily could have been a win. Whether it be from low ground, continue to tarp here, this player frontside would have been a free siphon refresh without sacrificing their positioning. There have been plenty of other opportunities as well, or by simply looking up and going for height. The opportunities to win this game, the window was open right now. But because they are no longer a duo, because the chances of winning this game have now gone to the wayside, it is now a game where Naves is just hoping, praying they can clutch out a top 3 as a solo. So I hope you guys kind of understand now just a better idea as to what makes a good refresh. I think the general rule of thumb should be, does this enable me to do something different? Does this change how I can play the game? When you go back and you watch your games, look at the refreshes you get. When you get those refreshes, does this enable you to play the game differently? Are these refreshes actually allowing you to play for height, play for low, do all sorts of things? Are they allowing you to do more? Because if they're not, then they are a bad refresh. I hope this helped you guys, and yeah, if you made it this far, like, comment, and hope you guys all just helps you guys get better.